assassin Matt Costa and science advisor Matt Moniz. We are here to talk with you about the paranormal as we are each and every Saturday night. And we are very excited for tonight's program. We'll be joined in just a moment by Jackie Barrett. She is a world renowned psychic medium. You know her for her work with Ronnie DeFeo, the accused Amityville killer, the convicted Amityville killer, in her book, The Devil I Know. Well, now she has a new book out, The Haunting of the Gemini, and it is just, if you thought that The Devil I Know was a creepy tale and that you had trouble sleeping after reading that, wait until you read The Haunting of the Gemini, and it's all true, folks. So we'll get into that in just a bit with Jackie. We do want to let everybody know that we have the all-new Spooky TV running at SpookySouthcoast.com. If you have never listened to the program before, well, we're more than just a radio show. We try to have a little bit of a video element for you as well. So if you go to the website, maybe it's not time. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to actually select the Spooky TV option. If you go to SpookySouthCoast.com, I'm going to go through this on the computer at the same time so I can know how everybody is achieving this. So let's start over here. So just go to SpookySouthCoast.com, or you can go to WBSM.com and find the Spooky South Coast page there. But right on the front of SpookySouthCoast.com, you'll see a tab at the top, Spooky TV. Click on that, and underneath you'll have a few options of how to view the program. You can either watch it on a full screen, you can just listen to the audio from the WBSM feed if you don't want to tax your computer, or maybe you're watching on a tablet or a phone that doesn't have flash video capability. You can select that option to just listen to the show, or you can hit the middle one, which is video and chat. You can see what's going on here in the studio and chat with others. Keep in mind, though, that the chat room is pretty much eliminated from we're no longer able to actually utilize the chat room here because that's not running it. This isn't running it, but we're working on getting that fixed. However, you will notice, hopefully, that the video and audio quality are better on Spooky TV than they've ever been in the past because thanks to the generous donations of our listeners through our GoFundMe campaign. What's that? Generous donations?
Do you have the video up?
I do have the video up. It looks really good.
Yeah.
It's like really.
Did the thing pop up yet?
No. It's a good like 20 seconds behind. Oh. But oh, what? That is outstanding.
Right? That's professional.
That looks like we know what we're doing. So thanks to the generous donations of our listeners through our GoFundMe campaign, we've been able to purchase a new laptop, and this thing is just the bomb right here. And it has so much more processing power than the old one does. We debated for months and months what actually was the problem with the quality of Spooky TV.
Well, the old computer was a step up above an abacus.
Well, the old one was good. It lasted us quite a long time. I just think that the demands that we put on it kind of outlasted the technology that we had. We kind of wanted to make sure that we had the best for you. And so we were able to purchase this laptop, which will hopefully produce a better quality program. And also, we'll have a better quality recording. Are you recording?
I am recording.
Awesome. And we'll be able to start putting these back up on YouTube, which we used to do. But the technology had been failing us because it didn't have enough processing power to do both. So now we should be good. Now we should be able to handle both. And also, one of the other things that we've been able to do is we've been able to purchase the program that we used for the cameras. So instead of just going by with the freeware, which had been what we've been using for the last 5-6 years, how long we've been doing Spooky TV, we've been using the free version. Now we actually spent the money to get the higher quality video and to get the ability to do things like this, to put up names underneath, to have picture-in-picture, to have all these multiple sources. And I just think that it's going to bring a whole new element to the Spooky TV aspect of the show. So remember, you can always check it out live on Saturday nights from 10 to midnight. You can check it out on SpookySouthCoast.com or on WBSM.com. But Spooky TV is more than just our program. It's also programming throughout the course of the week. And we've got so many great programs on there like Spirit Connections with Tiffany Rice. We have the Chuckles and Laugh Show, right?
Yep.
We have Ghosts Are Near with Keith and Sandra Johnson.
Paranormal After Party.
Paranormal After Party with the Black Shirt Paranormal Group.
And Whaling City Ghost Presents.
Oh, we've got that. Yeah. We're running it now?
Yep,
awesome.
Yep.
So there you go. So we'll work on getting some other programming up there too. If you have an idea for a show, you can just reach out to us, Spooky Crew at SpookySouthCoast.com. That's the way to get in touch with us all week long. You can also tweet us too at SpookySC, And during the course of the night, if you would like to tweet us or send us an email, you can do that. But you can also try the good old-fashioned way by giving us a call, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. And just a little bit of a programming note. I'm not going to be here next week. I don't know if you guys are going to try and do a show without me next week, next Saturday.
We could try.
We could try.
But I won't be here. I'm going to be at Parahistory Con 2 in Lake George, New York. And there are still some tickets available for some of the aspects of Parahistory Con 2. So if you go to their website, you can find out more about that. Then the week after that, I'm going to be in Minnesota for a independent wrestling event and a ghost hunt at the Mounds Theater. So you can go to my Facebook page or follow me on Twitter at Tim Weisberg. I'll have all the details if you want to join me at those events. But Stephanie Burke will be here as the co-host, and she's working out who she's going to bring in for her guest, but she'll be sitting in my spot. So that should be a pretty interesting night for folks who are fans of Stephanie, and you don't have to hear me. So there you go. And then we'll all be back together in a few weeks after that. But we do have a Legend Trips event coming up on July 12th. Only 10 tickets remain for this event at the Murdoch Whitney House in Winchendon, Massachusetts. Your chance to investigate this great mansion with the Spooky Crew, with Jeff Belanger, with Andrew Lake, and with our very special guest from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International, Dustin Parry. So if you want to get those tickets, I would jump on those now. They're only $99. They include dinner, lectures, a tour of the building, and hours of guided investigation where you get to use the Kinect camera system and so many other interesting gadgets and so many other things that you can use to try and reach out and touch the other side a little bit. But our guest tonight, she can't help but reach the other side because it's been right there in her face pretty much her entire life. For more than 26 years, Jackie Barrett has been a psychic medium and author. Her amazing abilities to both communicate with the dead and guide the living have propelled her into the spotlight. She is known throughout the world as America's foremost occult and paranormal expert. She is the author of the books The House That Kay Built, The Devil I Know, in which she delved into the world of Ronald DeFeo, the Amityville Murderer, and now her new book is called The Haunting of the Gemini. Please welcome back to the program the one and only Jackie Barrett. Good evening, Jackie. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, we are spooktacular, and it's great to have you on again.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, and I love these books that you're putting out, but I was thinking about it today as I was reading over the book, and I was thinking, it's very interesting to hear you tell these stories and to share these experiences with us, but you're the one that actually has to live them and go through them. But when I see your social media posts, when I see what you put up on Twitter, on Facebook, it seems like you're able to live a relatively happy and normal life despite all these forces that are interfering with you.
Yeah, I try.
But I mean, does it grind on you after a while to have to constantly be battling? You know, basically, you're the soldier that's standing out there between us regular folks and the world of evil. You're just one of the few who is able to see both sides of that. And does it get draining on you emotionally and physically?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you have to, you know, I mean, this isn't something that just happened to me overnight. I've been part of this world and the other side since I was about 5 years old. So, you know, I know how to, even though I don't want to sound, you know, so arrogant saying I know how to separate and just shake it off. You know, you're still human. It's very difficult to shake off, but you do your best. You surround yourself around good people, and you know, I'm a huge animal lover, so I always like to keep myself busy with that, and just going, you know, doing things that make me happy.
Do you ever feel though that do you feel like your family, your pets, your friends, do you feel like any of them kind of feel the effects of what you have to go through?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm not the easiest person to live with. You know, I know that. And then, of course, it's like, you know, the shadow gets cast onto the others around me, you know, just the things that happen. I mean, there's always something happening. Mm-hmm. There's, you know, just because you write something and you help somebody, let's say like Ronnie DeFeo, as much as you could and try to dispel the evil, it doesn't mean that it didn't take a layer off your back and it has a residual. It lets you know that it's still around, and there are other demons and unkind spirits that sort of try to test the waters.
Well, one thing that comes through very well in the books anyway, and I know this from speaking with you in the past, is there's a very strong bond with yourself and your daughter and your husband, and it seems like as a unit, it's kind of the three of you against the world, and the fact that they've got your back so well, that must be reassuring, knowing that you have to go up against these things, knowing that when you are home, that you have that great support system and that they love you unconditionally.
Absolutely. I have an incredible family. I mean, my daughter is just she's a powerhouse herself, and Will, my husband, he's right there alongside me. When something happens to one of us, it happens to all, and we don't question it. We just go up against it. It's that old school of thought where, if someone picks on a family member, you have to go through everyone. I just hope they can hold up.
Well, it seems like everybody, if we look at you as a team, and you really are, you're a team working against these forces.
Right.
It seems like everybody brings something to the table that's different. I mean, you all are very balanced in this, but it seems like your daughter brings a lot of the the mental aspects of it. You're a combination of kind of both, and Will can bring the physical aspects of it. And even though you all touch upon all those areas, it seems like everybody has the one thing that's kind of where they can excel, so nobody can hurt you in any way.
Yeah, we're pretty tough people, and we do come out for each other, and everyone has a role to play, and sometimes we need to step out of it and step into something else, and when one person is weakened by it, and it's just something that happens, and I'll give you an example of just like last night, and I was really, really tired, and I was ready to go to bed, and Will was already asleep, and I had said, good night to Joe, and I just got really comfortable, and I heard, Ma, but it was like, it had this sound to it. It wasn't human. It sounded like Joe, sounded like Joanne, but it wasn't human. But of course, you're going to get up and see what's going on. And I just stuck my head out my door, and I was like, did you call me? And she said, no. She said, I didn't call you. I got back in bed, and it happened again. And so I text her, and I was like, you sure you didn't call me? And I knew she didn't, but I just wanted to know she was okay. I mean, we live in a big enough house where if you wanted to, you didn't have to see each other. So, I went ahead and I texted her, and it was like, I knew it was something else. I knew it was something messing with me. So I just, I said, the hell with it. I went to bed.
Well, in reading, the new book, I kind of need a little bit of help chronologically because we read The Devil I Know about
Right.
your work with Ronald DeFeo, and how did this new book, The Haunting of the Gemini, how did that come about chronologically in your life that you started delving into this case? Was this kind of around the same time? Was this after Ronnie?
Oh
Or?
my God, it was, between them both. I don't know how I don't walk around with vitamin drip IV, and but I was actually years ago. It had to be like 2004. I was then seeing Patricia, who I didn't know was Patricia. Like, I was seeing this woman all over the place. And while I was doing homicide cases at that time, I would see her here, there, and everywhere, just running. Like it's like if you're waiting at a light and something catches your eye, and it was always as though everything slowed down for that one moment, as though, that feeling when you're lightheaded. And I would look in that direction and see her stare at me for a moment and then dart somewhere. And I continued to see her for quite some time. And I began to log everything.
Now, at this point, I mean, I don't know how it works for you with your abilities. Can you tell at this point that she's a spirit and not a living person?
I knew she was.
Okay.
I mean,
because I mean, I'd be worried that you've got a stalker if you keep
I'm
seeing
sure
the
I
same person.
do. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah. I knew she was, but I wasn't sure how powerful she was,
Mm-hmm.
what she wanted. Was she looking to harm? Was it a demon taking form of a human? I wasn't clear. I wasn't clear with that at all. So that's when I began to log everything. And while I finished with Ronnie, I was already writing everything down, what was happening between myself, Heriberto Seta, the Zodiac Killer, the New York City Zodiac Killer, and Patricia Fonte. I didn't know who she was until everything started like meshing together. And this has to be like the first time where something came back to back like this for me. And actually, there would have been another back of that, but I walked away from it, and because it was that bad after the Zodiac. But while I was completing this manuscript, and it wasn't just a manuscript. It's like it's a live diary. So it's every day going through something and being able to write this down. When I wasn't able to write it down, Joanne did. Joanne sat with me and she would say, "What happened to you today?" And everything was recorded. So that's the great thing about the iPhone. You can, or your iPad. As you go along, you can start recording things, and one page turns into 1,000. Mm-hmm. Actually, there was 2,000 pages of manuscript that had to do with him and I, and some of the things were taken out, and some were put into different areas, and some I tucked away in a safe deposit box that maybe keeping in public safe.
Well, that's very interesting. But while you're dealing with Ronnie and you're putting that to an end, and anybody who remembers The Devil I Know and the ending of that book, you realize, just what you had to go through to put a final stamp on that case. But it seemed like you were able to come out of that, and I don't want to say, everything's a happy ending at the end of it, but at least it seemed like you had found peace with your role in that. And now all of a sudden, this case, the Gemini case, and particularly Patricia, it is wearing on you probably more than I've ever heard any other case wearing on you mentally and physically.
Yes, absolutely. Ronnie really, Ronnie can take you for a ride. It's there's something, when it frightens me when I hear people say, especially after the Zodiac and Ronnie, when I hear people say that they don't believe, they don't believe in spirits, or they don't believe in entities and the bad and the good, it frightens me, because I realized the more we push this aside and just want to see the world as being black and white, the bigger and better does the evil grow, and does it grow? So, it's able to multiply and divide its way and just cause havoc and it's true. It's the by saying it doesn't exist, you already empowered the devil.
And just as a quick note, I just want to throw this out there for anybody that's watching on Spooky TV. If you see me look directly at the camera, I'm looking at the computer. The computer's just the camera's on top of the computer. I don't want anybody to get really freaked out and think that I'm staring at them through the camera. But the one thing about Ronnie and dealing with that is it seemed like, as intense as it got, you were always able to keep that. You knew how to keep that distance between yourself and Ronnie. You knew when he was trying to suck you in, and you knew when you were kind of being lured in. With this case, it seemed like it was getting you without you even realizing it was getting you.
Yes. It's that's really good because a lot of people didn't realize that in interviews that I've done, but you're always really sharp anyway. So,
well, thank you.
But Ronnie, I was able to actually keep, and I hate to even use this because I don't want my house breaking down again, but like a little bit of an upper hand, I'll say it like that, where, we were like skating on the same ice at some times, at some points. And I was trying to weed through everything. And my point was to, Ronnie had so many things inside of him. And I was trying to bring him back to the house that day and truly let him see who was running out that front door. Like he said, he always claimed it was like this so-and-so guy or this neighbor or this friend, but in reality, when he turned around, he saw himself on the lawn with this gun. And, we can't have redemption unless we really redeem and see what you've done. And this thing in him, this what he made a pact with and how it was able to manipulate him and let him see only what it wanted him to see. And he truly believes some of the things he's saying. I mean, he really, really does. Like when he says, I wasn't there. When he says that, it's like a different voice in him when he's saying that. And we had it analyzed because everything is on tape. There's like 2 years of Ronnie on tape every day. So there's you can hear, and it's very frightening. There's like some screaming and it's not his voice, and there's like a voice on top of a voice. There was so many different elements to it, but I was clearing my own path as I was working with him, and people are so frightened of him as well. But I would actually be more afraid of the New York City Zodiac Killer, and it's not because of the way he stalked and what he did. It's because what's in him is so friggin' powerful. It's so powerful. It's like, when you watch like those old Freddy Krueger movies and it's like, don't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sleep. Well, that's like Eddie. As soon as you think you're relaxed or you can just close your eyes for a moment and just a moment, it's like, you open your eyes and everything has changed. He practiced the occult of the old version of Crowley and Solomon Sales and Solomon himself. And, I was amazed by that because, and I've said this before, there was no computers, there is no information he had at that time. There was no way of just sitting in front of something and just, absorbing what you're reading. There was nothing like that. He he learned from the masters himself. You know, he opened himself up to different elements, and it's, you know, I believe we are preset for certain things, and just as, you know, we mark the world with good things that makes headlines, you know, there are bad things that make headlines for a reason. And I think, you know, as long as we're alive, we're always going to have that.
We do have a call on the line, and if anybody would like to call in during the show, the number is 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. We'll take this call. Hopefully it doesn't get too ahead of what we're discussing here, but I don't want to leave it to chance in case somebody has a question about Ronnie either. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast with Jackie Barrett, and I just dropped her off. I forgot to lock her into the VIP line. So hold on one second. We'll take a break. We'll get Jackie back on, and we'll put you on hold as well, okay? Hello? All right, I will put that call on hold. I guess we'll take a break because I knocked Jackie off, and we'll be back in just a moment with more here on Spooky South Coast.
A Ford technician knows you get used to things running smoothly. Until one day, they don't. So let a Ford expert make sure your brakes are working well.
Get a $50 mail-in rebate on any Motorcraft brake service. Only at your Ford dealer. Taxes extra. Rebate by prepaid debit card. Pads or shoes on most cars and light trucks. One axle. Excludes machining rotors or drums. See your participating Ford dealer for rebate details through 5/31/14.
It's been a long day. You've walked through 18 open houses, and you're pretty sure 10 of them have been ignored since the 80s. Your feet hurt, and your head is buzzing with words like wainscoting and butler's pantry. The idea of living in a van is starting to sound strangely appealing. But then you hear it. The sound of salvation, of hope, of Zillow. You glance at your phone to see a 3-bedroom Craftsman in the right school district, walking distance to coffee with a finished deck. It's pretty perfect. And it just showed up on your phone, like magic. When you sign up for mobile alerts from Zillow, we'll send you homes that fit your search criteria when they hit the market. You can view interior photos, historical pricing data, and learn more about the neighborhood right from your phone. Sign up today at Zillow.com or on our mobile and tablet apps. And to think, you wanted to live in a van. Zillow. Find your way home.
Attention homeowners, the Obama administration is pressuring lenders to do more to prevent foreclosure with its Home Affordability and Stability Plan. If you own a home and you're having trouble making your payments or facing foreclosure, we can help. Call the National Mortgage Helpline at 800-590-6340. We now have the ability to stop foreclosure proceedings, forgive late payments and penalties, take your adjustable rate mortgage to a fixed rate, and reduce your mortgage payment to as low as 2%.
We were 3 months behind on our payments, and the National Mortgage Helpline was able to get our mortgage company to take the payments we were behind, put them on the back of our loan, and lower our interest rate. Now we have a payment we can afford.
Simply call 800-590-6340. Again, that's 800-590-6340. If you're having trouble paying your mortgage, call the National Mortgage Helpline today at 800-590-6340. You don't need equity or good credit. You just need to call 800-590-6340.
They can sense the rhythm of your blood. They can sense the rhythm of your blood. They can sense the rhythm of your blood. They can sense the rhythm of your blood.
My God. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me.
Beaming from the studios of AM 1420 WBSM into the night and beyond. Here's more of Spooky South Coast.
You say one thing, he said another, and everybody changes back again.
Welcome back to Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with the silent assassin Matt Costa and science advisor Matt Moniz. We believe we've fixed the issue now. We have Jackie locked in, so I won't disconnect her again. That was totally me. everybody always like worries when that happens when we start talking about the really bad things, especially the A word. As everybody who is a fan of Spooky South Coast and a regular listener knows that whenever we talk about anything to do with Amityville, havoc ensues. But this time it was not that. This time it was me. So if that caller would like to call back, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. If anybody has a question for Jackie. Jackie, you're still with us, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I promise I will try not to mess up too much anymore.
Okay.
But no promises. All this new technology in the studio tonight, it's got me jumpy, I guess. So we've been discussing your new book, The Haunting of the Gemini, and you had mentioned that you started to see this spirit of Patricia around, but there was a point where it really started to intensify these sightings and these interactions with her.
Oh, absolutely. It was, I missed a part of my life. It's like living inside of a mirror and watching yourself doing something. It looks like you at times, and you can't stop her. I wasn't able to stop her. But I have to say that it's a little bit lonely that she's gone.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, she caused havoc and did so many bizarre things. Well, I did as her, but she was trying to show me something. And when I saw heaven, and when I helped her get there, and I came back, it was like leaving your best friend. I know why she did all that. I know what she was trying to do, and I know what he was trying to do, Eddie, and the power pull and the struggle and the spiritual fight. It's like afterwards, you leave a boxing match and you're like, well, what the hell happened? And she wasn't the villain.
I have a question for you. When she would manifest, would anybody else see her?
Yes.
So she was witnessed by other people besides you?
Yes. Others have seen her. There was one time, and I didn't put this in, this part wasn't in the book. We went to a Broadway show, and just trying to do things like we always do. Someone had given us tickets, and went to go to the Broadway show, and I came back to the seat, and I remember seeing the woman, like as I passed to get to my seat, I remember seeing this older woman who was in the bathroom and then going to get a drink. And I don't drink alcohol, and she said she didn't understand how somebody of the likes of this woman, and she was describing her, was getting vodka. And I turned around and I felt Patricia coming back out, and Will was trying to just keep it contained. I don't think Patricia would have a problem of standing up on her seat and saying how she felt. So yeah, other people have seen her. My mailman has seen her. People in grocery stores, actually asking me if I had sort of a twin because of having my clothes on. Neighborhood people tend to know you. You know, if you have a tendency of wearing, let's say, a black hoodie with a skull on it, and saying, gee, I just saw somebody walking here and order this, and or looking at my hands strange. Patricia's hands were quite different. They were crusted over with dirt and blood most of the time, and and then I walk back into a place and it isn't, or going into a nail place and the girl who always does my nails saying, "What happened to your hands?" And some of the scars and physical scars and mental scars aren't healed yet.
Wow. Well, we do have a call on the line, and if anybody would like to call in with any questions for our guest, Jackie Barrett, the number is 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast with Jackie Barrett. Hello, do you have a question?
Guess not.
Okay, I guess. Maybe they didn't have a question for Jackie, but a question in a different question, perhaps.
So this entity or being would produce mimicry behavior?
Was that a question?
Yes.
Could you ask that question again?
Okay. So Patricia would have mimicry behavior of you?
She would mimic my behavior as well as I was mimicking her behavior. Was my body acting, my mind acting as Patricia. Would Patricia mimic my behavior?
In other words, to manipulate other people around you to pass off as you. You understand the question now?
Yes, she would.
Okay.
But she couldn't do the tasks at hand. She was schizophrenic, and if I was, let's say, with a client and I felt her coming out or starting to act up, I would have to, say, "Oh, I'll be right back. Just hang tight. I need to get an aspirin," and I would just come up the stairs, and it would be like an argument with myself, basically.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I knew it wasn't myself, but.
And while this is going on and it's intensifying, you're frantically trying to figure out, yourself and your daughter, trying to figure out who this person might be and what it is that she wants. And she's not being very forthcoming with any kind of information, but you did end up eventually gleaning her identity through some of these visions and experiences that you had.
Absolutely. She wasn't. I think, in life there's a reason for, not everything, maybe most of the things that come to our door. And, if we take the time to explore it and to see what's going on, and I really didn't have a choice in this. I didn't want it. I didn't want any of it. Nobody would want to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a definite, something that I needed to go through. I needed to find out who she was. We all had a part in it, and she was giving me clues, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was going on.
I mean, and it must be hard too to be going through that and not knowing if you can trust this spirit with the information that they are giving you. Because I mean, you're worried from pretty much right from the start that you might be dealing with something of a demonic nature. Because at the same time that you're dealing with Patricia, you're dealing with sightings and visitations from a different type of entity and something that you actually know very well.
And we all know that the entities and malevolent spirits. I mean, this is all trickery that they pull on us.
Mm-hmm.
Just testing us. But it felt like I had no choice. at times. You know, like I said, I'm not a drinker. I don't take meds. I don't do this and I don't do that. And I felt as though Jackie was drugged and put into a cage, and I could see myself. I couldn't reach out and touch myself. I couldn't wake myself up. It's like sitting right alongside yourself and watching this happen and witnessing this and seeing what's going on. And, you know, to say that I miss her smile, I miss her thirst for life and her freedom. And it made me, you know, slow down a little bit and look at things a little bit differently, that sometimes indeed they do come to us and in the state of what they were. She was schizophrenic and a party girl and homeless, and she was murdered. So she came to me that way, and I look at her now as this beautiful child.
And well, at the same time that she's coming to you and trying to get you to understand what it is that she wants you to do for her, you're also being taunted by the same force that you thought that you had at least maybe not vanquished, but at least held at bay a little bit
Right.
with Ronnie, and that would be the devil himself.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's very frightening. It's very, very frightening because I knew how intelligent this person was in the occult, and I knew the deal he had made and how he can come in and out of things, you know, whereas Ronnie in prison would need a TV set, or this or that, you know. He doesn't. He sits alone. He doesn't communicate with people. It's frightening. It's frightening how the mind can sit so still and let something in and be content. And he's not looking to get out. He's not looking to be a free man. He knows what he is capable of doing. And he's just going with it.
Well, we do have another call. We can try this again. 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. We are going to be taking a break in about 7 minutes for the news. When we come back on the other side, I want to get more into the idea of the New York Zodiac Killer, because people are familiar with the story of the San Francisco Zodiac Killer. There was a film and numerous books written and everything. I want to get into the actual details of the New York Zodiac Killer, so we can do that coming up in the next hour. But let's take this call. Good evening. You're on Spooky Southcoast with Jackie Barrett.
Hello?
Hi, you're on the air.
Oh, no, I was going to ask her a question, but you said it's in 7 minutes?
Yeah, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Oh,
can
no,
you just do me a favor and can you turn down your radio or your computer, however you're listening?
Oh, sorry, let me lower this. Sorry, that's my computer.
Sure.
Hello, Jackie?
Yes, hi.
You're on there with Jackie. Go ahead, ask your question.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Sorry, Jackie can hear you. Go ahead, ask your question.
Hello, Jackie. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yes, the question I wanted to ask was, have you ever met any of the family members of Patricia Fonte?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I haven't. I tried looking for them. Patricia tried looking for them through me, and I know they're out there. I'm hoping that they will read the book, that they will know that she was truly a beautiful person. I know she had children. I know she wasn't capable of taking care of them. She wasn't even capable of taking care of herself. I think the whole mental health sort of did her wrong. So I'm hoping that they will come forward and appreciate the person that she was, and that where she is now, in a more glorious place. That she is beautiful.
All right. Thank you very much for the question.
Yeah, I just want to say that we love you over here in New York, and we want to see you more on TV.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you very much. You have a great night.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye. And yeah, I mean, that is the thing. As I'm reading the book, Jackie, and I'm hearing about how Patricia lived and how she's reaching out to you, and I kind of dawned on me pretty early that her family probably wasn't involved in her life very much, and that she probably did fall through the cracks of the state system, because they try and do what they can, but as we know in New York, they've had. I've been calling for a separate project I'm working on. I've been calling all kinds of mental hospitals and asylums in New York, and there's so many of them, and there's so many patients in them that.
Absolutely, and there are some that are just they're pushed to the side. They've cut benefits on these people, and they just medicate them and put them out there, and they're a huge danger to themselves and other people, especially somebody with schizophrenia. Can they be held accountable for committing a crime? And what do you do with them? Would you just throw them in prison? I mean, they need help. It's really, really sad, really, really, really sad. There's so much of this going on, especially back in the day, and with the drug use on top of it, and in that park, in Highland Park there, where she was murdered, the police didn't even get close to this. And I work with them, and I can tell you that they didn't. They didn't even do their job. They didn't get close to her body. They automatically said it was an overdose. Now, she was stabbed over 100 times. You mean to tell me you don't see the blood? You don't see the puncture wounds on this woman?
That's incredible.
It is. It's very sad. And when she brought me there, and I went back with her, I felt them.
Well, we will pick this up on the other side after the news. We'll find out more about the New York Zodiac Killer, some of his crimes, and why it's evil. It's just evil personified. So we'll get into all that coming up in the next hour. In the meantime, while we are in the commercial break, feel free to go to SpookySouthcoast.com. You can find the link to Jackie's website, JackieBarrett.com, where you can purchase her books. You can pick up all three of them. The House That Kay Built, you can pick up The Devil I Know, and you can pick up the new one, The Haunting of the Gemini. They're all available right there on her site, and you can find out more about her and her work. And as that caller mentioned, you've seen her on TV in the past, and I'm sure that you'll be seeing her quite a bit again in the future. So we'll talk about all that coming up. You can also get some of those 10 remaining tickets to our Legend Trips event coming up this July 12th at the Murdoch Whitney House in Winchendon, Massachusetts. Don't miss your chance to investigate with the Spooky Crew, Jeff Belanger, Andrew Lake, and Dustin Parry of Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. You can just go to legendtrips.com to get some of those remaining tickets. We'll be back after the news with more here on Spooky South Coast.
For local news, talk, and sports, the South Coast turns to AM 1420 WBSM New Bedford and WBSM.com.
I'm Chuck Severson.
The audio recording posted by TMZ is truly offensive and disturbing. And we intend to get to the bottom of it as quickly as possible.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver just a few hours ago saying that